What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle content. Welcome to the season of the World of Wonders, and the first Pokemon we're taking a look at this season is going to be Hakamo-O with that newly buffed Brick Break. Brick Break, if you aren't already aware, got its energy increased slightly, and it now gives a guaranteed defense drop to the opposing Pokemon, just like Poison Fang. I've paired it up with Skarmory and my Shadow Golbat because I really like using Shadow Golbat, and they're two very strong answers to Fairy types, as well as Golbat. Having that safe swap, it'll probably draw out something like a Registeel or Bastiodon, something that Hakamo should hopefully be able to get rid of and leave Skarmory open to close in the end game. So let's take a look at these battles here as we get into my first games of the season. And I don't know about y'all, I had a really good first two sets. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like these first two sets here, really good record. And then for some reason afterwards, I tried some of the other new stuff and I just kept getting dumpstered if you guys were seeing the stream. So we got some good battles here for you today. In this video though, we're going to keep in with the Hakamo, drop a shield on that first Psycho Boost. The opponent is staying in here though. And this is kind of interesting to me, so I'm going to go ahead and swap in Skarmory. Normally I don't do this, but I wanted to catch that Psycho Boost. So we do catch the Psycho Boost, and the opponent has Talonflame. And at this point, I am feeling very bad. The opponent going for the move. I can't drop a shield here on this Talonflame, so I just have to let this go, and my Skarmory is just gone. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you see a lot of things in the beginning of the season, and I am notorious for going, like, just feeling washed at the beginning of the season. So I go for the Brick Break here because I have a feeling my opponent may shield to keep that boosted Talonflame alive. So I go for the Brick Break here to get a shield, thankfully. And now I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw to try and KO or get the final shield here. Excuse me. The opponent does let the Talonflame go. There's an Azumarill in the back. The Deoxys is going to be able to get to a move here. I'm out of shields. So if the only way that I can win this here is if somehow they just decide not to shield the Deoxys, but they do. They can drop a Psycho Boost. They can drop a Thunderbolt. Doesn't really matter here. My Golbat's as good as gone. So I pretty much get just triple hard countered here to the point where I can't play out of it. Sometimes you can play out of triple hard counters, but in this case, I'm not going to try. So only loss out of the way. Let's get into some wins here. Getting into the next game, we see the early season Spice. Opponent running a Purified Shelgon. Love to see it. They're running Ember, though, so this is a very good matchup for me, and they're going to come in with a Fearow. Now, yes, obviously, some of these games are going to be, you know, early season Spice. Trainers are just trying to have fun and go battling with whatever they have. I promise you there are some meta teams in this video, so stick around for a little while longer and check these games out, because Hakamo with Brick Break is actually quite busted. I feel like it's one of the strongest things in this update. Just kind of like on a low-key perspective, right? Because it does so well into so many things that got buffed, but also having that Brick Break and having some bulk, as long as it doesn't get lined up against a Fairy type, very good for it to be able to deal with long-term matchups. So we're going to go for the Brave Bird here. Going to take out the Shelgon. The opponent has a Sock in the back. So some Super Spice. Actually, Sock got Brick Break as well. But the opponent running Poison Jab means that the Sky Attack is going to take out here. Because they're not going to be able to do enough fast move damage to make a KO. Alright, getting into the next game, we got Hakamo versus Scrafty. Alright, so the whole team has a lot of play here. I'm going to stay in for a little bit because they either have to go for Power Up Punch or Foul Play or maybe even like Acid Spray. So I can tank a move here pretty simply. And I don't want to go straight into Golbat. I could. But Skarmory would be the harder answer here, or the less hard answer. I'm sorry, I've been mixed up. Golbat's the harder answer, and I kind of wanted to save it or be able to get to this point where they would be so low that I could maybe farm down with Skarmory or Golbat. But I really don't like safe swapping Skarmory, and that's why I stayed in, because I just try to avoid that situation of safe swapping Skarmory. I don't know what my opponent had in the back, but apparently he didn't like Golbat, so good game. Getting into the next battle, Hakamo versus Crocalor. So this is one of those Evo Cup matchups that we may be familiar with. I'm going to stay in for a little bit here. I do have to recognize that they have the Disarming Voice. The opponent is going to go for an extra move here. Looks like they're going for that good timing here, which is very good to see. So I'm going to be going for the Brick Break right away. The opponent does decide to shield it. We get the defense drop, and two of the Dragon Tails get through, though. They have back-to-back Disarming Voices, and I should have caught on Golbat here, but instead I decided to stay in. So I have to now drop both of my shields, but I may be able to get a farm down. If I was in hindsight, I would have gone for an immediate swap into Golbat after the first one. That's what I should have done. So the opponent now has a Skarmory in the back, so I'm going to be able to go for Brick Breaks here. And at this point, I can usually, I should be able to safely go for some Brick Breaks here. And the opponent has to throw energy in order to KO, so I'm going to come in with my Skarmory. I'm going to let them go for that energy or that KO. And the opponent is going for a huge overfarm here, trying to maybe get the farm down, but the Brick Breaks are going to add up very nicely here. Now, in hindsight, yes, the opponent probably shouldn't have shielded the first one. Typically, if you know your opponent has a debuffing move, you typically don't want to shield the first one in case the defense drops, because then your future moves are going to do more damage. Getting into the next battle, we have the newly buffed Steel Wing Empoleon on the lead. This is actually really, really risky. My opponent swaps out into their Clodsire here. I'm going to go for some extra energy here. What I want to do is I want to have Brick Breaks loaded, at least one. My Skarmory doing pretty good here now that I know that they have Sludge Bomb. So I'm expecting them to also have Earthquake, so I'm going to swap in Skarmory here. We're going to basically hard wall the energy from the Clodsire, and a Brave Bird will still hurt an Empoleon. So my aim here is to come out of this matchup with as close to a Brave Bird as possible, because even though the opponent's Empoleon does resist those Steel-type fast moves, I'm not really worried about that because their Steel Wings are also resisted, and they did not build up to a move. They were still, I think, 3 or 4 away from a move. So I'm going to be able to launch this Brave Bird here, and the opponent can farm down, but I mean, I am way too healthy. They will not be able to, they won't be able to farm me down. So I'm going to be able to get to a move if they don't. They do throw the energy here. All too fine to let this go. Hakamo has a bunch of energy. So we're going to throw the Brick Breaks here. The opponent either has to take one or shield this up, and they do decide to take this one. At this point, I probably could have gone for Dragon Claws, but I wanted to go for the super effective guarantee. They shield up, and I'm still close enough to the point where I could almost get to another move. I'm going to shield up because I want to keep Hakamo alive to debuff the last Pokemon on their team. And if you are the Empoleon in this situation, you do usually want to go for the Drill Peck, because it's that flying type damage into a fighting type. Water would be resisted. So Brick Break is going to do super effective damage and drop the defense. I could have gone for back-to-back Dragon Claws here, but I guess I just really wanted to debuff the Zweilous because it was the last thing alive. Even though my Golbat Shadow, no one move is going to KO here. I just need to get to the Poison Fang, and Golbat is going to be able to finish this up. So that's going to be a good game. Well played to the opponent. So I love Hakamo. I think it's going to do really well in the Open Great League meta, especially as we get past everybody trying all the new stuff. So Charger Bug, once again, another great lead here. The opponent has a Skeleturge, and this is not exactly what I wanted to see. So my opponent can go straight for Disarming Voices, and I have to play this out. I am forced to play this out. So I go for 3 Dragon Tails. That's effectively the best timing for these 3-turn Dragon Tails into an Incinerate. The opponent now immediately throws their move. I kind of had a gut call based on last time, so I go ahead and I call this Disarming Voice being thrown right away, and I immediately come up with my Golbat, absorb the energy, and I'm able to even farm down here. Now, this energy is going to help me fight back against Charger Bug. Hakamo does completely wall the Charger Bug's energy, but being able to hit it with Golbat is going to be huge here. Now, I overfarmed trying to get to see if I could get to that Shadow Ball or throw in the middle, but the opponent does go ahead and throw their energy, which is also fine with me. I'm able to throw 1 Dragon Tail and then get the Dragon Claw off because that's 3 turns within their 4-turn Volt Switch. And then what they have in the back is a spicy Shadow Haunter. I could be rude and throw Brick Break here, but I would rather go for guaranteed damage. I don't need the defense drop to win this game, so I'm going to go ahead and go for those Dragon Tails, but get the farm down. That's going to take out Shadow Haunter, and that's a good game. Love the spice from the opponent there. Getting into the next battle, we've got Shadow Gallade on the lead. This is actually very dangerous, but overall, Hakamo does very well here. You see how much damage I'm doing by adding up the, by just adding up those moves. Now, I do go ahead and I swap after that last move there, when they're about to get to 5, to try and catch the close combat or even the Leaf Blade. But the opponent does go ahead and stay in for a bit longer to farm up, and then they come in with Charge Bug here, which is going to be fine because I get more farm on Hakamo, and the lower the opponent's Gallade gets, the better, because as long as I can keep my shields, I'm not worried about what Gallade can do to me here. So, opponent going to throw some energy at the last second. Just going to be an X-Scissor that is resisted because of Hakamo's fighting typing. Then the opponent has a choice to make. They come back in with the Gallade. I should shield this. I'm pretty sure I shield this. Yeah, I do. They do go for a Leaf Blade bait here. And then they come in with Whiscash. And now this is a little awkward because Skarmory's Steel Wings are resisted here, but its energy does well. So what I do here is I'm just going to stay in. I'm going to go for the Brick Break if I can get to it, but the opponent does get to a charge. I'm going to let this go. It's a Mud Bomb. It doesn't KO, but they go for a Scald. And I'm about to go on a rant if I don't check myself, but I am so freaking tired of Scald, dude. Like, the fact that Whiscash can just say, I'm just going to throw resisted damage because it's going to give me a coin flip on a debuff that could make the game winnable for me. That is just ridiculous to me. So we get 2 defense drops and I leave the opponent low, and I'm able to swap it to Skarmory as they try to go for a farm down and can't make it. Skarmory can live any one move here. Opponent needs 2 close combats to think about KOing, and I'm able to farm down. Good game. Getting into the next battle, we got a Primeape on the lead here. This is pretty okay. I have 2 flyers in the back, so I'm going to swap to Golbat right away. And the opponent looks like they're running low kick. And then they come in with Carracosta, and I'm like, okay, this is a Spice team. And typically, this matchup, you would have expected them to shield that, to be honest. But it's Water Gun Carracosta. I've already committed to 1 Poison Fang, so I'm going to just go for more Poison Fangs here. Because I did see that the first Poison Fang did a reasonably decent chunk. The opponent looks like they're not moving, and then all of a sudden the water guns come through, so I'm not sure what happened there. Could be some lag, but I'm going to go ahead and go for the farm down here, and the opponent now has a choice to make. They come in with a Lucario, which is huge for my Golbat here. Golbat just going to solo this team at this point here. Opponent running ABA fighters, and typically, so they have low sweep on the Primeape. Typically, you want to run counter as the fast move. Low sweep, unfortunately, just does not have the stats to really compete in this current meta until it gets a buff. But the opponent has Blaze Kick, and that is actually really dangerous for my Skarmory. So I'm going to have to try and make some magic happen with Hakamo here. My opponent having Blaze Kick means that they can pretty much rock my Skarmory off the face of the planet. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the farm, and I try to catch, as you can see, but I'm 1 off on my counts, unfortunately. Opponent is able to get to that Blaze Kick, and that does a lot of damage. I'm going to go ahead and swap out, farm down, and I should be able to get to a Dragon Claw here to take the game. The opponent does get 2 moves. This Ice Punch would not KO from this range, I don't believe, but I'm a little scared of an Ice Punch. Opponent just has Night Slash. Might be rocking, like, maybe Night Slash Close Combat or something like that. But going to be able to get the Dragon Claw off and take out the Primeape here, so good game to the opponent. Getting into our next battle, Hakamo on the lead versus a Golbat. This is a very awkward matchup. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go for 3, and then I'm going to wait a turn, swap in my Golbat to try and catch a Poison Fang. Opponent would love to go for Poison Fang in this matchup. Catching the resisted energy and saving some energy on Hakamo is going to be huge for me here. And I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball. The opponent throws much earlier than they would get to the Shadow Ball, so I'm just going to let this go again. I'm using my Golbat in this case as an energy sponge here. I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball, and I overfarm in case they let it go. Shadow Ball, gonna connect and take out the opponent's Golbat. They have, I believe it was a Charizard with Fire Spin in the back. So maybe not wanting to burn an Elite TM on Wing Attack, completely understandable. If you can, Wing Attack is just so superior on Charizard. If you can use an Elite Fast TM to get Wing Attack on Charizard, I can highly recommend it. Opponent going to be able to just get to a Dragon Claw here, and I'm going to save my Hakamo with a shield. I'm not going to let them hit me with that super effective move because I don't know what they have in the back. And now I know what they have in the back. It's an Excadrill. Excadrill with Mud Slap. Typically, Mud Shot, I think, is preferred here because of the energy gain, but I know after the buff, Mud Slap actually isn't all that bad here. I'm going to go ahead and shield to let Hakamo get that Brick Break in to finish off this game after the defense drop, and just because of how absolutely made of paper Excadrill is, especially in the Great League, this Brick Break should get the KO here, as it does. Good game. Getting into our next battle here, we're going to have Hakamo on the lead versus Dragonair. This is risky. We are going to have to go for some moves. The opponent actually swaps out immediately here. And I'm actually going to go for Brick Break. The opponent and I do CMP tie each other here. What I look to do is I want to get the defense drop and then come in with my Golbat. I would like to let this go, but I can't because I don't want to risk the Icy when actually doing a lot of damage. So I'm going to now come in with Golbat. Golbat will absolutely be able to outpace here. And because they get to the move at 6, I'm going to throw on 5 just because I don't want to deal with any one-turn, you know, shenanigans. The opponent giving up their final shield here in order to make sure that they get another move off. I'm going to let this go. I don't think Icy Wind's going to KO, and thankfully it doesn't. So even though I have an attack drop, I have a bunch of energy at this point. Opponent's going to come in with a Clodsire. I will be able to fire off the Shadow Balls. They are going to have to throw energy here, and I have Skarmory to put onto the Clodsire after they take out my Golbat. Now the opponent comes in with Dragonair. I'm not able to make it to a move, but Skarmory looking like a win condition here, as I'm just going to come up with Skarmory, go for a Sky Attack, and that should take out the Dragonair. They will get to at least one Aqua Tail before I'm able to do that, however. But between Skarmory and Hakamo, I'm pretty sure that they can tag team a Clodsire, no problem. Be able to get the Sky Attack off before the opponent gets to that next Aqua Tail. This is going to take out the Dragonair here pretty simply. And then we're going to see Clodsire come back in, and the opponent is going to throw in energy here. If they have Stone Edge, this might be kind of risky, but I don't think even a Stone Edge would KO. But the opponent throws the Sludge Bomb, no shield, and they concede the match. Good game, well played to the opponent. Lots of really interesting teams here. Some meta, some spice, but picking up a 4-1 and a 5-0 to start the season off, and then going absolutely downhill from there for like the next 5 ranks. So tomorrow's video, you guys are going to see another team that I was trying out some of the new stuff that was a lot of fun. Didn't get as many wins as this one did, but I just really wanted to show off the new Pokemon. So check in the video tomorrow. It's going to be some great games. And for this one, I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.